The first time I saw the photos, I honestly thought it was just a joke. I was scrolling through my camera roll when I found them. Pictures of me, sleeping, in my bed. At first, I just stared at them, confused. Then I kind of laughed, because the only explanation that made sense was my brother. So after school, I asked him, "Hey, did you take pictures of me while I was sleeping?" He just looked at me, confused, and said, "No." No hesitation, no smirk, nothing. I believed him. Or at least, I didn't think much about it after that. I just moved on. A few weeks later, I was going through my photos again, and I saw new ones. Same thing. Me, sleeping. Different nights, different positions. That's when it stopped being funny. Because this time, my brother wasn't even home. He was on a school trip. I didn't wait this time. I went straight to my dad. At first, he didn't take it seriously. He said maybe I took them myself, or maybe it was some kind of glitch. But then he looked closer, checked dates, times, and realized something. That's when everything changed. Every night after that, my dad checked the entire house. Doors, windows, closets, everything. He even ordered a camera, said he'd set it up in front of my room. But before it even arrived, something happened. I woke up in the middle of the night, not because of a sound, but because of a feeling. The bed shifted slightly, like someone had just sat down or laid down right next to me. I didn't move. I didn't open my eyes. I couldn't. My heart was racing so hard it felt like it would give me away. I just lay there, completely still. Whoever it was, they stayed there for minutes. Then slowly, they got up. I heard footsteps leaving my room. The second I was sure they were gone, I jumped up, ran to the door, locked it. I grabbed my phone, called my dad, no answer. Called my mom, nothing. I wanted to go to their room, but I couldn't. I was too scared to open the door. At some point, I just sat there, back against the door, holding it shut. Eventually, I fell asleep. The next morning, my dad was trying to get into my room, knocking, calling my name. I opened the door and just broke down. Told him everything. He listened, but something was off. He looked shaken. Then he said, "I checked the camera." I didn't even remember he had set it up, but he had, sometime the day before. He explained slowly, like he was trying not to panic. "Someone came into my room that night." I asked who, and he said, "It was your mom." He told me she must have been sleepwalking, that she didn't know what she was doing, that it happens sometimes. But then he hesitated, because he said something else. She didn't move like herself. Too slow, too precise. No hesitation, no reaction. And then he looked at me, waiting for me to accept it. But I just shook my head and said, "That wasn't her." I used to work the night shift at a gas station. It had one of those small convenience stores attached. Snacks, drinks, cigarettes. Nothing fancy, just quiet. Isolated. Most nights were the same. A few cars, maybe someone grabbing coffee. That's why I didn't notice him at first. He was just another customer. It took a while before something felt off. One night, I was scanning his items, half paying attention, when the register beeped. I looked up at the clock. 2:32 a.m. For some reason, that stuck with me. The next night, he came again. Same man, same calm movements, same silence. And when I checked the time, 2:32 a.m. After that, I started watching for it. And it didn't matter what night it was. He always came at exactly 2:32 a.m. Everything about him was consistent. He walked the same path through the aisles, picked up a few random items, placed them carefully on the counter, never rushed, never hesitated. And he never spoke. Not once. I tried. "Hey, how's your night going?" Nothing. "Do you need a bag?" No reaction. He didn't ignore me like a normal person would. It felt more like I wasn't there at all. Then he'd pay exact change every time and leave. That's when I noticed something I couldn't explain. I always heard the door when he left, that soft sliding sound from the entrance, every single time. But I never heard it when he came in. Not once. At first, I told myself I just missed it. Maybe I was distracted. But once I noticed it, I couldn't stop noticing it. So I checked the cameras. You could see him inside the store, walking, shopping, standing at the counter, leaving. But there was no footage of him entering. None. I should have stopped there, but instead I got curious. I started watching him more closely, trying to catch something, anything. The very next day after my shift, I walked to my car, and right next to the driver's door, there was a product from the store. One I remembered scanning for him. I just stood there, trying to explain it away. Maybe I dropped it. Maybe someone else bought the same thing. I threw it away, told myself it didn't matter. Then it happened again. Another night, another item, same situation. And then I came home one morning, walked up to my apartment, and right in front of my door, there was another one. At that point, I stopped asking questions. I stopped looking at him, stopped talking to him. And then he stopped coming. Just like that. Gone. A few weeks later, I quit that job, started somewhere else, tried to forget about it. And for a while, I did. Until one night, I woke up suddenly. No reason, just that feeling. And then I heard it. The sound of my apartment door. Soft. Closing. I didn't move. Didn't breathe. Just listened. Nothing else happened. Eventually, I convinced myself I had dreamed it. The next morning, I went to the kitchen, opened the fridge, and there it was. One item from the gas station. I hadn't bought it. No one else had been there. No signs of forced entry, nothing missing, nothing broken. The police couldn't do anything. No evidence, no fingerprints, no explanation. I moved in with my boyfriend not long after that. Not because something happened, but because I realized it didn't have to. Every night around the same time, the garden lights would turn on. At first, we assumed it was motion sensors, animals, something simple. But when my dad checked the cameras, there was nothing. No movement, no animals, nothing at all. And still, the lights kept turning on. A few days later, my younger sister said she saw something outside. She said there was something in the garden, standing there. We asked her what she meant. She just said, "They don't come close." That was enough to make things uncomfortable. My dad started paying closer attention, watching the yard every night. Then one night, the lights didn't turn off. They stayed on, longer than usual. My dad stood by the window, watching. At first, there was nothing. Then he noticed something. At the very edge of the light, a shape, low to the ground, wrong proportions, not standing, not fully visible, just there. and then the lights turned off. The next night, they turned on again, and the shape was closer. Every night after that, closer. Not rushing, not hiding, just waiting, like it expected someone to come to it. That's when my dad started getting paranoid. He installed another light, a stronger one, connected to a remote, so he could turn it on from inside the house. For a few nights, he didn't use it, just watched. Until one night, he couldn't take it anymore. The shape was too close, too clear, so he pressed the button. The light flooded the yard, and for the first time, we saw it. It looked like a deer, or something that tried to look like one. Something about its body was wrong, too still, too stiff, and its eyes were already locked onto him, like it had been watching him the whole time, not reacting, not surprised, just waiting. Then it turned, slowly, and walked back into the darkness, calm, unbothered. After that, my dad stopped going into the yard. He never said it directly, but I could tell. He was sure of one thing. That wasn't an animal. And whatever it was still out there.